Hey everybody, and welcome to this Beginner's Guide to Unity. I just opened Unity here, and what I'm going to talk about first is projects. If you hit New, then you can create a new project. It takes it a sec. Okay, and give it any name here, doesn't matter. I'm going to call it Tutorial Project. And don't mess with that, or that, or that, or that. Whatever. Just leave it alone. Hit Create Project. You can mess with those things if you know what they are, but for starters, you don't need to. It takes it a minute. When it finally loads your new project, it's going to be laid out in who knows what kind of way. Well, you can change the layout of the whole screen to whatever you want, but I'd recommend selecting default. If you do, it'll be laid out like this. The inspector on the right, the hierarchy or the scene hierarchy on the left, the scene in the middle, and the project explorer down here at the bottom. While we're on the topic of windows, let me show you a few more things about these. You can see that there are different tabs on several of these of the windows. Well, the other things that are already open by default are Game, Asset Store, and Console. These are probably the second most important set of windows, apart from the ones that are there available already. And what you'll notice is that if you go to the window menu, all of those are in this General tab here. So if you ever need to find these again, you can always go to the window menu and go to the General tab. And if you ever want the default layout, you can always set it up like that. You can move these tabs around all you want. Like I can grab this tab and move it over here, and there's no specific limits to what you can do with those. In fact, there's even a way you can put them in a separate window. Well, I think that'll work. Yeah. So now I've got the main window on one side over here, and this floating window over here. I'm going to close it. I don't want it like that. And sometimes you'll bring up a window like the lighting settings window, and you'll want to refer to it over and over. Well, you can just drag it to be another tab on this pane. Also, in some of these windows, there's a search bar. Like in Assets, you can type level, and it'll just show you the things that match a level. Or you can type T scene, and it'll show you the type scene. And when you have more assets and more types of assets, that'll be more interesting and useful. But it's good to know that it's there. Also, in this hierarchy window, you can search for things here. If I want to see all the cameras in the hierarchy, I can do this. What you'll notice, someday, this is going to happen. Someday, everything in your scene will go white like it just did. You can see if you close this, it's all brown and blue. But everything will go white. What that probably means is something activated the search bar, and you type something in, and it's filtered everything right there. Just go up to the search bar and hit that X, and it'll go back to normal. So I'm going to restore it to the default layout, and then let's talk about the next topic. Next, I want to talk about what this really is, because this project that we made called Tutorial Project is really just a folder on your computer with some files in it. The easiest way I know to get to that folder is in the Project Explorer. Click on Assets, or right-click on it, and then go to Reveal in Finder, or it'll be something very similar on Windows. And it'll show you the Assets folder, but then it'll also show you the Tutorial Project folder. And this totally empty Tutorial Project is actually, behind the scenes, 40 megabytes right now. And that's fine, that's not unheard of. The library folder is actually usually most of that. Yeah, 37.3. Now I'll show you something because it shows what that library folder really is. If I quit Unity and I delete this library folder entirely, now the tutorial project is tiny, 49 kilobytes. But if I start Unity again, I can still open that thing up, It'll make a new library folder. It'll process through everything it needs to. That's what this is doing. It's taking all its time. Probably some compilation going on there. Something like compilation. Well, it said compiling right there just for a second. And when it's done, if I go back to it, it's probably that 39. Oops, that was an accident. Yeah, 37.5 megabytes again. So really, the point there is really that your Unity project is just a folder with some files. Now, of the files in here, you probably won't need to mess with this folder much at all at this point. But when you get to building your game to be distributed to other people, you will. But the assets folder is the one that matters the most. Fortunately, you don't need to go there very often because you can do almost all of your file manipulation, if not all, right from the Project Explorer, right from within Unity. One way to think about a Unity project is to think about it like the Unity project is a Word document. And that means I can open a new Unity project, like the one I made yesterday or the day before, and it metaphorically opens a different Word document. Using the Word document metaphor, the Unity project is the Word document, and each of the scenes in the Unity project is another page in the Word document which you can write on and add pictures and add all your content to. If I want to make a new scene, one way to do it is to go to the File menu and New Scene. Select New Scene. If I do, it creates an untitled new scene which isn't saved unless you specifically save it. And it's good practice to save it in a Scenes folder for organization. So I'm going to call that Level 1. And now I can switch between the two scenes just by double-clicking them in the Scenes folder in the Assets folder. Also, if I want to create a Level 2, and let's say I want it to be very similar to Level 1 but have a different layout or something, I can do Save Scene As, Level 2. And that's actually usually what I do. Now, since I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, I saved it accidentally to the Assets folder. That's not a problem though, because even while it's loaded, I can just drag it into the Scenes folder, and Unity doesn't have any problem with that at all. Now I've got all three of these scenes, and just to show you that it matters which one's loaded, I'll remove the directional light. It changes the lighting in this scene. And I'll save it, so Level 1 looks like this, Level 2 looks like this. And with a small scene, it loads them very fast. And even with a large scene, it doesn't take too much time. If you're editing Level 2, and you want to make a copy of it so that you don't lose your work, probably the easiest way to do that is to just hit Command or Control D while it's selected in the asset in the Project Explorer. Now that's kind of a dangerous keyboard shortcut because in, say, Windows Explorer, Control D deletes things. So be careful with that keyboard shortcut. However, in that context, it's really useful. You can also drag and hold down Option key on Mac or Alt on Windows. It'll copy it that way. And note that each time I did that, it automatically renames by incrementing the number at the end. That's just a really nice convenience. It does something similar in the scene view. For example, if I hit Command D here, it duplicates it and puts a 1 at the end. And I can make many of anything in the scene view this way. Of all the windows that are available here, I would say that the scene hierarchy and the scene itself are the most important. You're going to need to refer to the project all the time to manage your assets down here, the Project Explorer, and you're going to need to refer to the inspector to manage the details of each of the things in the scene. The last thing I'll show you in this video is this button up here, the play button. That's used constantly. When you want to test your game out, you hit the play button. And this is all this scene does since there's nothing going on at all. But to stop it, you just hit the play button again. For now, you can ignore everything on this line, and I'll show you about some of these in the next video. Thanks for watching this video. And if you liked it and if it was useful, then give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, then please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.